Hello, fellow stitchers. I'm Cher Johnston. Welcome to my happy place. I want to talk about hoops today, and I want to talk about, first of all, before anything else, I have this pattern for you on my Ko-fi site. If you go there, there's a supply list. There's a that pattern and this pattern. And it asks what you would like to pay, and you just say $0 and you get it for free. Not a big deal. So I have my this is a vintage handkerchief, I think. Anyway, I'm going to put that to the side for right now because I want to talk about other stitches. You know, there's embroidery stitches. Also with slow stitching, there are other stitches that we use. And here's an example. I'm going to do an invisible basting stitch. Now, I have pink thread, so it's not going to be invisible, but I wanted to do that so that you could see. And basically, I'm just going to take a small bite out of the fabric from the back and then travel up here and take a small bite out of the fabric. Now these stitches could come out later. They don't have to, especially if you use white thread. If you use white thread, they kind of disappear. That's why it's called invisible basting. So I'm going to baste this down. This is my front cover that I decided upon. And as far as collaging and collage elements and how to do that, that's not something. I've been thinking about this quite a bit. You're going to have your own fabrics and your own things. These fabrics are, this is Tula Pink. That's Tula Pink. Tula Pink is a designer, a fabric designer. This is from an old shirt of mine. This here, this is a piece of lace that I tea stained, and this blue fabric is from one of my mother's square dance dresses that I got after she passed. And I like to use those up because, you know, my mommy. I wanted to talk about hoops. Now, also, you could take a glue stick and glue these down before you start doing this. And it might make you a little less crazy, but, you know, I don't mind. We're all a little crazy up in here. To hoop or not to hoop, that is a question. When, excuse me, it's early in the morning and I don't talk sometimes until I turn the camera on. Let me get some tea. When young ladies used to do embroidery, of course they always had a hoop. That was sort of one of the rules. And you wore gloves and didn't get it dirty, and you know, all the rules. I because I taught myself embroidery, I didn't know those rules. I didn't learn with a hoop. I have tried in the past to use a hoop because it would be a good idea sometimes. If you don't want things to shift around, it's a good idea to use a hoop. Because I didn't learn with a hoop, it just gets in the way for me. Listening to Sarah Humphrey's embroidery. She's a good one to follow. I'll put a link in the description to her channel. She's been doing embroidery tutorials for a long time. And she does, true embroidery. She talked once about hoops. And one of the things that she said, I'm going to pin this down so that I can move it around. One of the things that she said is that with slow stitch and the slow stitch movement, there are people aren't really using hoops anymore. I need to do this from the front because I'm having trouble. There we go. I don't use a hoop. I like the feel of the fabric in my hands, and I think I like the feel of the fabric in my hands. I love fabric. I watch other people do junk journal tutorials or mixed media, and they have papers, and they're just crazy about the papers. I'm not crazy about paper like that, but I am crazy about fabrics and laces and trims and all of it. Okay, this piece right here, I pinned it down wrong. This piece needs to go on the edge. Okay, I'm going to finish this off camera and come back and we'll do another one. Okay, I just want to show you the back. It's not pretty. It's all over the place. But these pieces of fabric are now stitched down. So hoop or no hoop, it doesn't matter. It's up to you. Totally up to you. I don't use a hoop. I try now and then. I give it a shot, but I didn't learn in a hoop, so I don't use a hoop. Let's talk about the rules next. Number one rule is it's got to be fun. It's just got to be fun. If you're not having fun, then maybe it's not for you. I don't know. But also, there are no rules. I guess that should be the number one rule. There are no rules, really. You don't have to use a hoop. You don't have to, whatever. So the next stitch that I'm going to show to you, because that was an invisible basting stitch. Not so invisible because, The next one I'm going to show you is an overcast stitch. These stitches are not decorative stitches, which is what the book's all about, is the decorative stitches. These are like sewing stitches. This is an overcast stitch. So normally you would use white thread and it would be not visible. You could do a teeny tiny stitch and then that wouldn't show. But of course, because there are no rules, I can do whatever I want. And I want them to show so that I can show you how this overcast stitch goes. Now the other thing that I wanted to mention is that you don't have to do the piecing and the slow stitch on the front. You don't even have to do the front right now. If you're not comfortable doing the front, you can do it last. You could do this one here. There's no piecing. This is one piece of fabric, and I did all the stitching on it, and then later I just put the edges on. So then this one, I did lots of, oh my gosh, look at all those colors. Like, wow. And I did lots and lots of different fabrics and stitching and, you know, all that. It's a little busy. I sort of like that. So if you just want to do pages, like if you're just here to learn the stitches, that's totally fine. You can do start with the stitches when we do those pages, and you can do separate, you know, just pages. You don't even have to sew them together into a book if you don't want to. You can just be here for the instruction. But yeah. What was the other thing I wanted to mention? I want you to hit the hype button. If you are on your mobile device, there is a, if you're in the US anyways, in the first 7 days, there will be a hype button. And if you hit the hype button, it's next to the like button. If you hit the hype button, it helps more people see my videos, and you know, we'll have more people to join us. Also, if you're on your mobile device, if you go to my page, there's a little spot that says visit community. And if you go there, my friend Shirley, hi Shirley, Shirley from Canada has an orange kitty cat. And she posted some of her projects that she's done with Jennifer Clouston tutorials, which is very cool. If you're doing this project, I would appreciate it if you would, you know, share pictures with us. Let us all see what you're doing. That would be cool. What else? Oh, did I mention the pattern? I think I did. I think I already mentioned the pattern and my Ko-fi site. It gives you the option to pay. You don't have to. If you have the money, I would appreciate $1 or $2. You know, Christmas is right around the corner, and I need to look at Christmas presents for my grandchildren. What I like to do for Christmas, this is what I like for Christmas. This is my Christmas present from them. We get together and we do gingerbread houses. Sometimes we just do gingerbread cookies. Sometimes we, the first year I did with my godsons. Look what I've done. Oh God. All right. That's what I get for not paying attention and just chatting. This year we're going to do, I called my godson and I said, hey, do you want to do gingerbread houses this year? We're going to do, I talked to Roxanne and Ariana, and they want to do gingerbread houses. Maybe just cookies, but maybe gingerbread houses. And he said, you do this every year. In January, you say, oh, I'm not going to do that again. It's too much hassle, too much work, too much, just too much. And then around Thanksgiving, you call and say, hey, let's do gingerbread houses. Oh, God. Connor is about 33, and we first did gingerbread houses when he and his brother were probably 3. So I've been doing gingerbread houses for 30 years. Wow. What else did I want to tell you? Okay. Maybe I'll just shut up and we'll speed through this. These were all the ideas that I had. Stitch journal, stitch dictionary, stitch diary, stitch craft. I heart stitching, dictionary of stitching, slow stitch book, slow stitch journal, slow stitch diary, slow stitch dictionary. And I decided on stitch dictionary because this is going to be A to Z kind of thing. If you would like your journal, like I can do a pattern for the journal, for the Journal of Stitchery lettering that I did on the other one. I can do that. And I started working on these and I thought, no, I don't need to do all that. I can do it if you ask for it. I'm going to do this. I want to show you one more stitch today because this is the slow stitch part of the of the course. So I have here I think this is a Milliners needle, either that or it's a Sashiko needle, and I have some Sashiko thread. Let me just show this to you. This thread is I'll put a link in the description. It's very soft. It's pretty thick. It's very, very soft. When I stitch with it, it changes the. It just changes. It makes it soft and wonderful. So I like to use that. It sort of becomes part of the fabric. I left this on the edge. Probably should not have done that because that's going to make it hard to stitch through. So I'm going to do running stitch, also sometimes called Kantha stitch. I think Kantha stitch is a specific. It's also called borrow. You could call it Spargo-Inspired. It's called Sashiko. I think Sashiko is a very specific thing. People call it all kinds of things. It's just a running stitch. With a very long needle, you can get lots and lots and lots of stitches onto the thread, onto the needle. And then when you pull through, you want to make sure that you pull it out. If you don't, you could end up with bunching up the fabric a bit. And it can go a little wonky. Which is fine. If you like that kind of thing and if you don't mind it and you like it, then have at it. Very cool. I'm not going to do all this with you here today. I'm going to do this off camera. And then in our next video, we'll do some stitches for lettering. I'm not going to start the course yet because I want to give everybody a chance to gather their supplies, and you might want to get the book, and I'll put a link again to the book. Again, you don't have to get the book. I'll put a link to her website as well, because you could just go to her website and look up stitches. Someone said in the comments that they borrowed it. I don't know, from the library or something. She didn't say. When I turn a corner or go somewhere else, I want to make sure that, let me just show you this. I want to make sure to leave just a little bit of thread there so that I don't, maybe not that much, so that I don't get too tight. Also, I often stitch from the back. I put lines in. Just show you this. I put lines so that my stitches are really straight. You don't have to do that. Most people don't. Don't know why I do. It's just, I don't know. Just a thing. I was a bookkeeper for many, many, many years. I have a I don't know, mathematical sort of mind. Anyways, I'm not going to do this on camera. I will do this off camera, and I'll put a photo in at the end. You're not going to see this a lot because it's white and it's going to kind of blend. But I'll be able to feel it. It'll feel so wonderful. And because I'm not going to back this with anything, I'll be able to feel. Wish you guys could feel it. So cool. Okay. That's all for now. If you have any questions at all about the course, again, it's free. It's going to be here on YouTube. I was going to start next year, but I may start sooner. I don't know. I want to give you guys a chance to gather your stuff. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.